Why are we here? What's the point of it all? If everything eventually fades to dust, why should we even care? These questions haunted one of history's greatest minds, Leo Tolstoy, a man who had everything: fame, wealth, a loving family, and unparalleled success. Yet despite all this, he found himself drowning in an abyss of existential doubt. Tolstoy wasn't just any writer. His novels War and Peace and Anna Karenina remain literary masterpieces, celebrated across generations. But at the age of 50, something shifted. Suddenly, the weight of life's biggest questions crashed down on him. All the happiness he'd built seemed to vanish overnight. How could someone so accomplished feel so empty? And more importantly, how did he claw his way out of it? In this video, we'll explore Tolstoy's personal battle with meaninglessness and how he emerged stronger on the other side. Let's dive in. From a young age, Leo Tolstoy carried a deep skepticism toward religion. Losing both parents early in life left him feeling abandoned by the universe. The church didn't help either. It felt distant, cold, almost hypocritical. He once said, "I cannot believe in what I do not see." This early foundation of tragedy and doubt planted the seeds for the crisis that would later consume him. For nearly 5 decades, Tolstoy lived large. He owned a massive farm, surrounded himself with family, and basked in the glow of success. Life was good, or so it seemed. But then, everything changed. Around the age of 50, an intellectual storm hit him hard. Sleep became his only refuge because waking moments were tortured by relentless why questions. Why live? Why exist? Why die? In his essay A Confession, Tolstoy revealed how close he came to ending it all. Nihilism had taken hold, whispering cruel truths into his ear. Life is meaningless. Death is inevitable. So, what's the point? Instead of surrendering to despair, Tolstoy chose a different path, a journey to find meaning where none appeared to exist. Tolstoy turned to philosophy, science, and countless ideologies, desperate for answers. One pivotal moment came when he reflected on a parable, a story about a man fleeing from a wild beast. Cornered, the man jumped into a well to escape, but below loomed a dragon, jaws wide open. Clinging to a branch growing out of the well's wall, the man noticed drops of honey on its leaves. Despite the danger, he licked the honey, savoring its sweetness amidst chaos. To Tolstoy, this parable mirrored his own life. Like the man in the well, he was trapped between two extremes, the beast of existential dread above and the dragon of death below. Yet, there were moments of sweetness, small joys that kept him searching for answers. Those drops of honey gave him hope, even as the void threatened to swallow him whole. But philosophy and science offered little comfort. Reading Solomon, Socrates, and Buddha, Tolstoy realized their teachings often led to one bleak conclusion: happy is he who has not been born. Science, too, disappointed him. Darwinism framed humanity as nothing but an accidental creation, a lump of energy destined to decay. To Tolstoy, these ideas only reinforced the emptiness he felt. Neither field addressed how to live a meaningful life. Frustrated, Tolstoy began observing the people around him. He noticed 4 distinct ways people coped with life's absurdity. First, some simply ignored it. They shrugged off the big questions, saying, "Life is absurd. So what?" Albert Camus might have called this defiant resilience, but Tolstoy saw it as temporary. You can't ignore your mind forever. Eventually, the weight of nihilism catches up. Others turn to pleasure. Tolstoy watched as they chased wealth, relationships, and entertainment to distract themselves from life's harsh realities. But indulgence, he argued, was fleeting. It was like the honey in the parable, sweet for a moment, then gone. Pleasure couldn't answer the deeper questions gnawing at his soul. A third group succumbed entirely, overwhelmed by life's futility. They saw no way out and considered ending it all. Tolstoy understood this temptation, but he rejected it. Suicide, he believed, solved nothing. Instead, he urged others to keep moving forward, searching for answers with an open mind. Finally, there were those stuck in existential limbo. These individuals acknowledged life's meaninglessness but lacked the strength to act. They weren't rejecting life, but they weren't embracing it either. Trapped in spiritual exhaustion, they existed without direction or purpose. For Tolstoy, this was the weakest form of living, a state of paralysis that offered no resolution. After years of searching, Tolstoy stumbled upon a profound realization. Observing the poor, especially peasants, he noticed something extraordinary. Despite immense suffering, they maintained an unshakable faith in God. Their belief gave them purpose, resilience, and hope, even in the darkest times. This struck a chord. Tolstoy, despite his wealth and intellect, felt disconnected from such faith. Material possessions no longer satisfied him. Reason alone couldn't fill the void. Inspired by the peasant's simple devotion, Tolstoy began to see that life required more than logic. It demanded belief in something greater than ourselves. Though his rational mind initially resisted, Tolstoy came to understand that faith was the key to transcending life's limitations. Suffering was temporary, but the eternal presence of God offered meaning beyond human comprehension. Faith, he realized, wasn't just intellectual, it was emotional, spiritual, and deeply personal. But Tolstoy's newfound faith came at a price. His radical shift towards simplicity and service clashed violently with his family. Imagine this, a man who once hosted lavish parties now wearing peasant clothes, chopping wood, and mending his own shoes. His wife, Sophia, was horrified. She'd spent decades managing their estate, raising their 13 children, and nurturing his literary career, only to watch him reject it all. Tolstoy's decision to give away his wealth, money earned from war, and peace itself, sparked bitter arguments. Sophia feared poverty. Tolstoy saw it as freedom. Their marriage frayed as he denounced private property, even drafting a manifesto to justify his actions. Yet in his diaries he admitted the irony. Here he was, a man preaching humility, still relying on servants and his wife's labor to sustain his simple life. This paradox haunted him. Tolstoy's idealism often collided with reality. He wanted to live like the peasants he admired, yet his fame and privilege followed him like a shadow. Even his faith felt incomplete. Too personal, too unorthodox for the Orthodox Church. He was a man torn between two worlds, never fully belonging to either. Tolstoy's final years were marked by a quiet defiance. He wrote furiously, advocating for non-violence, vegetarianism, and social justice, ideas that would later inspire figures like Gandhi. Yet, his home was a battleground. Sophia, desperate to preserve their legacy, hid his manuscripts. Tolstoy, equally stubborn, staged a dramatic escape at 82, fleeing into the night to live as a wandering ascetic. He didn't make it far. Stricken with pneumonia, he died at a remote train station, surrounded by journalists and admirers. His last moments were anything but peaceful. Sophia was denied access, their decades-long rift unresolved. Yet in death, Tolstoy became a symbol of authenticity. His writings on faith, doubt, and the human condition resonated globally, proving that even flawed seekers can leave timeless wisdom. Embracing this newfound faith, Tolstoy transformed his life. He adopted simplicity, giving away much of his wealth to his family's dismay. He dedicated himself to serving others, finding peace in humility and devotion. Though his version of faith wasn't strictly Orthodox Christianity, it was rooted in a belief in the infinite. In the end, Tolstoy discovered what he'd been seeking all along: purpose. It wasn't wealth or intellect that brought him contentment. It was trust in something greater. On November 20th, 1910, at the age of 82, Tolstoy passed away, but not before leaving behind a legacy of hope and resilience. So the next time you find yourself asking those big questions, remember Tolstoy's journey. Sometimes the answers lie not in logic, but in leaping toward faith. Keep searching, keep moving forward. Your drops of honey are waiting. So what's the lesson here? Tolstoy's story isn't about finding perfect answers. It's about the courage to seek them, even when the journey tears you apart. He showed that meaning isn't found in avoiding pain, but in embracing the quest, warts and all. The next time you're stuck in an existential spiral, remember, you don't need all the answers. You just need to keep going, Like Tolstoy, you might find purpose not in grand revelations, but in small acts of courage, kindness, and stubborn hope. Because life isn't about escaping the well, it's about learning to taste the honey, even when the dragon's breath is hot on your neck.